Welcome to Three Count Commentaries. How y'all doing? This is our Easter live stream. Happy Easter, everybody. Let me know if the sound is good. I am wearing a headset this time, so the sound might be a little awkward. But let me know what's going on. Happy Easter again for all of my religious folks. For all my people who are not religious, then just happy, safe Sunday. How you guys doing? Uh, on the last check of the poll, it seemed that most people wanted to kind of skip today's live stream. Since I had already put up the banner, I'm gonna go ahead and do it, but I'm gonna keep it short. I'm probably gonna do about 30 to 45 minutes. I'm just gonna talk about the Super Mario movie, and because I watched it, and want to talk about it a little bit. Hopefully, we won't get too distracted. I won't be here for 2 hours, but I do want people to go ahead and enjoy their holiday. Um, while I wait for some people to pile in, I'll talk about our holiday spread a little bit since today is Easter. Um, let's see. My mom made pot roast. She also made honey baked ham. She made yams, macaroni and cheese. She made lima beans, but it had pork in it. And I was I brought in uh, red beans. I made some cabbage. I was gonna make some chicken, but maybe I didn't have time. So we had a nice little spread. We had some candy yams too. We had cornbread. We just had a lot. There's a lot going on, dog. So we had a nice little Easter spread going on over here. Everybody seems to have, enjoyed themselves. Um, so it's back to work tomorrow. So unfortunately, but I didn't get an extra day weekend anyway. I'm not that high up on the food chain. I had to work on Friday and I got to work on. So how you guys doing? Lights is already here. JS is thinking about seeing the movie. Well, let me ask you this question, sir or ma'am. What were you on the fence about when it comes to the movie? Now, I wasn't going to actually watch it until I saw Professor Geek talk about it, and he said he wasn't going to go see it because the trailer and some of the things that people had told him about it had turned him off on it, and that we weren't going to see sort of the iconic Mario in this movie. That it was going to be a sort of different take on Mario. And I can tell you that is absolutely true. Now, as far as this movie is concerned, I do not find value in spoiler-free reviews. So we definitely will be spoiling the movie. So if you haven't seen it and you actually do want to see it, I'm not going to go beat by beat. Every nook and cranny of the movie will be spoiled. But if you don't want to know anything about the story or the characters or the plot or anything like that, then you best escape before we get to the 5 minute mark. If you um, if you want to know what you're going to get into by watching this movie, then we're going to continue. Also, we will be doing the David Mamet questions. I want to break it down a little bit. Um, we want to do a little bit of the character stuff when it comes to Mario and Luigi, Donkey Kong, Princess Peach, Toad, the Mushroom Kingdom, all that kind of stuff. I played Mario games as a child, of course, with the regular Mario. I played Donkey Kong on the arcade. I'm that old. I played Donkey Kong on the arcade. And I played, of course, Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario 3. I played Mario Kart. I played uh, Mario RPG, was one of my favorite games. Of course, I played Smash Brothers. Now, I didn't play every single Mario game in the franchise. When it got to, I think, Nintendo 64, I kind of started to fall off. I played Mario 64. I played that. But a lot of the games after that, when they started making like the Smash Brothers games, I kind of started to fall off. I think I played Luigi's Mansion. That might have been the last Mario game I played. So there are some things about the Mario universe that I don't know. So I'm not going to attack it for its its portrayal of the universe. In fact, I think I like how they portrayed the universe. But we're going to talk about it more in a couple of seconds. Um, Again, hello everyone. We're going to do about an hour live stream today talking about this movie. and probably won't talk about much else because I do want everybody to go back to their holiday. Okay, so all right, now that everybody is been given enough time to get out of here, unless they're gonna get the spoilers, let's talk about Super Mario the movie, a collaboration between Illumination and Nintendo. Now, before we get into the movie itself, I want to talk about the animation. The animation for the movie is absolutely gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. Mario looks great. Peach looks great. Everybody looks like the characters you see on Mario 64 in the video games. Everything looks the same. It's fantastic. The music is great too. Now, they do have like some regular songs tied into it, but the music from the game is actually mixed in. Now, as you should suspect from the trailer, this is a children's movie. That's the first thing you need to realize. It is a children's movie. So the threat that Bowser poses is minimized in this story. And they undercut Bowser's threat by making him essentially comedic. And this is what happens a lot in children's medium. Either because people feel like it's too dark if the villain is too dangerous. So they necessarily think that it's too dark. This I don't think would have been dark, but they went heavy with the comedy. And you could tell Americans made it because a lot of the danger is undercut with humor. Now, again, before we get into the plot, let's talk about Mario. A lot of people were upset about Mario's voice. AJ3 is talking about this here. It's not so much that I was upset about Mario's voice, which I didn't like. I did not like Mario's voice. It was played by Chris Pratt. Wasn't a big fan of that. What pissed me off more was that they mocked Mario's voice. In the early part of the scene, we see in the early part of the movie, we see Mario and Luigi. They do a commercial for their plumbing business in Brooklyn, and they do "It's me, Mario. It's me, Luigi," and they put on the Italian accents. And you're thinking, oh, okay. So they backed down and they, started doing the accents. And then you figure out that it's fake. And they get made fun of for having these ridiculous accents. And there's at least, I don't know, maybe 90 seconds of the movie where they get made fun of for having these stereotypical Italian accents. And that didn't make you feel good if you were a fan of the Mario franchise, does it? When Mario starts talking in Mario 64, and he's got that clear Italian accent, that's actually, it was really weird, and I was a little put off by that because I was like, it's one thing to not use it. It's another thing to mock people, and that seems to be what they were doing is that, oh, you people who like the stereotypical Mario voice, ha ha ha, you people are so dumb, it's a stupid voice. And it's like, but it's the character's voice. It's the accent that the character plays. And I think Professor Geek made a good point that with the success of this movie, and it's been very successful, it's made over $100 million so far, that this is the Mario you're going to get from now on. And I think he has a good point with that. Well, matter of fact, I can't say that because it didn't quite happen to Miles Morales. Now, Enter the Spider-Verse made a ton of money. And you would think that was the Miles Morales you were going to get from that point forward in the comics and stuff like that. But it wasn't. And I can see that maybe the American audience getting Mario with this regular ass voice now, this regular guy voice, and not the iconic Mario voice, but the characterization of Mario is also what he had a problem with. Mario's characterization in the movie, again, before we get into the plot, I want to talk about the characterizations of at least 3 or 4 characters. Mario is tough, he's brave, and he's kind of hard-headed. He's his goal in this movie, and I want to talk a little bit more about it later, is to save his brother. But what you see throughout the movie is that Mario is not in any way particularly good at anything. Even when he was in the human world, in his real reality, he wasn't good. He wasn't a good plumber. Him being a bad plumber actually is one of the reasons why he ended up in the Mushroom Kingdom in the first place, or the Mushroom World, or whatever we're calling it. You see him and Luigi; they're both terrible at their jobs, and they tear up these people's houses, and they're just shitty plumbers. So we go from Mario being a shitty plumber to him being sort of a shitty hero, but he comes into his own later. So it's one of those stories where the hero has to learn, you know, how to operate in the universe, and Mario's competence comes through failure. And I get that, but at the same time, we see that a lot in these stories now where the hero just can't get right. He's it would have been good if Mario would have shown some kind of positive trait or some kind of competence earlier, and then we see that that's the thing that he can build upon. But that's not what we see from Mario. As we see he's basically incompetent, but he tries hard, and him trying hard is what actually helps him overcome. Is that he has this perseverance. That so I guess if you kind of like that Mario, that's fine. Luigi is on point. Like I said, I played Luigi's Mansion. Luigi is kind of timid. He steps up when needed, but he's the timid brother, and he is that in this movie. So Luigi is on point when it comes to his character. Princess Peach is now it's an interesting thing when it comes to her character because Princess Peach doesn't have a lot of personality in the Mario universe, at least not in the games that I played. She's mostly a damsel in distress. She's mostly there as sort of the female figure. She's dainty, she's classy, et cetera, et cetera. In this movie, she is hyper confident. She's super confident, and she kind of likes Mario, but really Mario is the only other human in the movie outside of Luigi. So she likes him, but it's only because he is so much like her, and she doesn't know anything about her own background, which I think is that's a cool thing, and I didn't really think about. Is I don't think they ever in the games. Maybe people can explain in the game. Did they ever explain why Princess Toadstool or Princess Peach is a human character in the Mushroom Kingdom? I I have gone 30 years of playing Mario games. Never asked myself that question until they tried to explain it in this movie. But basically, they explained it again. Spoilers that she basically got lost into the Mushroom Kingdom, and the Toads took care of her and made her the princess. And I was like, okay, well, at least that makes sense. I mean, she's just like Mario and Luigi. She stumbled across this world, except for she's been here much longer. And it's a way of explaining how she's hyper competent at the things that Mario was not good at, because Mario was just now getting there while she was raised there. That's something that a lot of the woke audience really kind of waved over the anti-woke audience head. It's like she was born here, raised here. This is her kingdom. Of course, she knows how to use these items. Of course, she knows how to do all of this stuff, and she can do it in heels, in a dress, the whole 9 yards. And it makes sense if you think about it. So the personality of Princess Toadstool isn't grating. She doesn't attack Mario. She does mock him for being short at one point in the early part, but she doesn't become unlikable. She's still a likable character. So I like her. She was okay. So from there we had Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong, of course, is in the movie. Donkey Kong is positioned a lot like a pro wrestler, where he's like a big show off, big muscly, chest beating, the bravado. He comes across like a jock, and him, like Mario, they both have daddy issues. Mario's father notes that Mario is kind of a loser, and even says that Mario isn't good, and he's bringing his brother down with him. And I was like, wow, do we really need that? You know. And so when we get to Donkey Kong's father is kind of embarrassed at how Donkey Kong behaves, about his ability to show off. And the people like that he shows off. He's a hero to the Kong Kingdom, or whatever they call him, the Jungle Kingdom. But to his father, he's an embarrassment. So they kind of had those two things in common. Okay, you know, I'm willing to give it a pass, I guess, um, because it had to have some kind of characterization for Donkey Kong. I don't know if I would have gone with that, but that's what they chose to go with, so it is what it is. Toad is the comedy. He's the Krillin. He's the comedic relief of the movie. So he's kind of everything funny is happening basically with Toad. Bowser. Now Bowser is look. I know that it's a children's movie, so there are scenes in here where Bowser is singing because Jack Black loves to sing. He loves the sound of his own voice. So Bowser is playing the piano and singing love songs for Princess Peach. And I just, I just shook my head. I was like, Bowser's a big, intimidating villain. To sort of turn him into that. I mean, they're playing into the storyline of the game where Bowser keeps kidnapping her, and his goal is to marry the princess, or he's going to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom. He's going to hold her hostage. And okay, but does he have to be? It's all these scenes where he's practicing how to talk to girls, and he's practicing how to talk to women, and he's got the Koopas dressed in drag and all this kind of stuff. I wasn't necessarily a fan of that, um, because I felt like it was too comedic. Him being obsessed with her and wanting to marry her or to merge their two kingdoms, that makes sense. Okay, this is that's fine. The issue that I had was some of the heavier hands of comedy that they dumped in there when it comes to Bowser singing love songs for Princess Peach. I don't think we needed that. But him wanting to merge their kingdoms, I can understand that part. That's the part I kind of agree with. All right, so we laid out all the characters. Now let's lay out the plot. The plot goes thusly. It's an Isekai. That's how Super Mario works nowadays. Mario is a plumber in the real world. Him and Luigi are kind of incompetent plumbers. There's a water main break in Brooklyn. They decide to build their reputations by going to fix it. They end up jumping down into a whirlpool, which sends them underneath the city. And while they're down there, there's a magic portal that sucks them into the Mushroom Kingdom. While they're in the magic portal being transported, they get separated. So Luigi is sent to the Darklands, where he is captured by Bowser, while Mario is sent to the Mushroom Kingdom, where he's found by Toad, and then the adventure begins. At this point, Mario goes to find Princess Toadstool, and it was a nice little interesting little piece of business at the beginning where the two toads are in front of the castle, and they tell him our princess is in another castle, which is the thing that you get if you played the old video games. You would get that joke that the princess is in another castle, and so you get those little member berries in there, in here over and over again. But Princess Toadstool knows that Bowser is coming. He has destroyed the Penguin Kingdom. I don't know what you want to call it, and he's gotten an invincible star, and he's going to use it to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom unless the princess marries him. And she knows that he's coming. She's going to go form a sort of super army because the toads are too small and weak. She can't really use them. So she wants to go to the Kongs and borrow the Kong army. She drags Mario along with him. There's a nice little montage of Mario going through the obstacle course and him learning about the mushrooms and the mushrooms that make him grow and the ones that make him shrink. A lot like Alice in Wonderland, which was another Isekai. And it's interesting because Mario shouldn't know how to navigate, the obstacle course. And it's fine that Princess Toadstool wants him to prove himself. She's not going to just take anybody along with her. So the obstacle course, he just goes day and night. She's falling asleep, and he's continuously trying to figure it out. Even though they did this little comedic thing with him where he doesn't like mushrooms, so there's this scene where she's forcing him to eat mushrooms so that he could grow and whatever and become big and strong. It kind of gives you that Popeye feel where he has to take Popeye has to take his spinach while Mario has to chomp down these mushrooms. And eventually Mario never, I don't think, ever completes the obstacle course, but she gave him credit for the effort and basically saying, look, you never gave up. You kept going. And so the three of them, Princess Toadstool, Mario, and Peach, Princess Toadstool, Mario, and Toad, I'm sorry, they go to the Kong Kingdom where they offer, they ask Donkey Kong's father for the Kong army because they want to fight the Koopa Kingdom. In order to get that military, they have to defeat Donkey Kong in battle. Mario fights Donkey Kong. He isn't competent as a fighter, so Donkey Kong's just whipping his ass. And then eventually he gets like one of those suits from Mario 3, where it's like a cat suit. I've never seen that one before. I knew there was a little raccoon suit. I didn't know about the cat suit. I don't know which movie that was in. So the cat suit allows him to be a little bit faster, a little bit more agile, and he's able to defeat Donkey Kong. Even though Donkey Kong says later on that he let Mario win, but he didn't want to tell them why. So the Kong army, they all get together, and then we get our Mario Kart scene where they're going to ride to the Koopa Kingdom and ambush Bowser. Bowser finds out about this because he's got spies watching the Mushroom Kingdom, and he's also very jealous that Princess Toadstool is spending all this time with Mario, and she's talking to Mario, and he decides he's going to kill Mario in order to get him out of the way because he's a rival for the love of Princess Toadstool. So from there, we get the big battle on Rainbow Road, where you get the Mario Kart battle where the Koopas are chasing down the Kongs and they're knocking them off the track. It's really fun. That part of the movie is really fun. It ends with the Kong army all being kidnapped by Bowser. Peach and Toad get separated from Donkey Kong and Mario. Donkey Kong and Mario fall off of the road into the water so they can have their moment to bond with each other. Bowser goes to the castle. Princess Peach is there. That's where she gets her little halberd or whatever. She's going to get her weapon. She's going to fight Bowser. So a lot of people who freaked out that Princess Toadstool had a sharp object, it was at least explained why she was doing this. She's being invaded, and there's not much that she can do because all of her help has been destroyed on the bridge. Her entire plan was to get the Kong army to help, and now they are gone. So now she has to fight Bowser herself. Donkey Kong and Mario managed to escape being eaten by this thing, and they're going to go to the Mushroom Kingdom. Bowser, he kind of, has one of his minions use magic on Toad, and to save Toad's life, Peach agrees to marry Bowser. Almost immediately, she betrays him by using an ice flower to freeze the gadgets because Bowser was going to sacrifice all of his captives, which include Luigi and the Koopas. And the penguins that you see early in the movie, all of them are going to be killed and sacrificed at the wedding. So she uses the ice flower to save herself and to save the captives. This is progressivism in a nutshell. Princess Toadstool is never in any real danger in this entire movie. She saves herself at pretty much every corner. And it seems to me like that was very heavy-handed. Like Mario never actually saves the girl in this movie. So if that's what you were looking for, a traditional Mario who saves the girl, or a traditional Princess Toadstool who is sort of in over her head and kidnapped by this super evil villain, forget it. She saves herself because that's feminism today. She put together a plan in which her bouquet of flowers will have an ice flower in it, and Bowser's too stupid to have the flowers inspected or to know that there's power up in the flowers. So it is what it is. And then she's able to fight Bowser, essentially defeat him because she put him in a big black block of ice. So she essentially defeated Bowser. He was immobile for a short amount of time before his fire breath melted it and broke them free. So um, that happens. Mario and Donkey Kong, they come through and they start wrecking the Koopas, which is really fun too. Bowser frees himself from the ice, orders the complete and total destruction of the Mushroom Kingdom. This is where we get one of the giant bullets with the living bullet, where you can see the eyes and everything. Mario hits one of the boxes and he gets the raccoon outfit, which allows him to fly. And he goes and saves the Mushroom Kingdom from the flying bullet by irritating the bullet and making the bullet chase him. He lures the bullet to a tunnel. The bullet goes through the tunnel and explodes. In doing so, the two worlds start to merge. The world of the Mushroom Kingdom and Mario's real reality are now one thing. And Bowser is now in the real world. At this point, Mario's family is there. Mario's there. He's getting his ass kicked by Bowser in battle. Luigi is saved because I think Princess Peach saved him. But Mario ended up saving him ultimately by, catching him out of midair or whatever. It's really kind of an afterthought that he is even saved in this story. Mario can't defeat Bowser one-on-one, so he kind of hides, and Bowser calls him a coward. And Mario sees the commercial between him and Luigi and is reminded what he's fighting for. At that point, he comes out of hiding to find that Donkey Kong is getting his ass whooped. Princess Peach is in trouble. His brother's nowhere to be found. He has to fight Bowser by himself. He sees the invincible star, which is now in his world. He wants to steal it. Bowser gets in the way. There's a scuffle. Bowser breathes fire. Luigi picks up a manhole cover and protects Mario. Mario and Luigi both manage to get the invincible star, and then they wreck the Koopas and save the day. Mario's father gets to see him save Brooklyn. He's telling everybody, "Oh, my son's so great. My son saved everybody." So he wins the admiration of his father. He saves his brother, and the Mushroom Kingdom is safe. The end of the movie sees Mario and Luigi as plumbers in the Mushroom Kingdom. So Mario does not get the girl. He does not save the girl. The girl basically goes off on her own afterwards. Everybody goes their own separate ways. Happy ending, right? And then there's a Yoshi. He's teased in the post-credit scene. So there's going to be a sequel, which is going to feature Yoshi. That ought to be fun. But it was a fun movie for children. If it's a children's movie, it's incredibly fun. Yes, there's some horseshit in there, with Princess Peach saving herself, and Mario being kind of incompetent, and Luigi being constantly scared, and Toad being ineffective, and there are no really strong masculine characters in the movie. Donkey Kong's not even really a strong masculine character. He's shown mostly as a goof. And he ultimately gets his ass kicked too, like multiple times. He gets beat up by Mario and by Bowser. So you don't necessarily get a strong male image in the movie. If that's what you were looking for, you're not really going to find that either. So it's a typical modern movie, but it was fun, and so much that you would get the member berries. So if you were like, it put a smile on my face. That's kind of how it was. Like, did I love it? No. Did I enjoy it for what it was? Yes. There are some elements of the story that I think should have been served better. Like Mario saving Princess Peach, which definitely should have been happening in the second half of the movie. Like, it's fine for him to be, her underling for a little while as he learns more about this world and what he needs to do in it in order to survive and to thrive, because she and him they're both humans. So having somebody else to relate to in that world makes sense. And I'm perfectly fine with that. The issue that I had is that Princess Peach, unlike nobody, she was the only character in the movie that was never in any real danger. The only one. Mario almost drowned. He got beat up. He almost got set on fire. by by Bowser. Donkey Kong almost drowned. He got beat up by Mario. He got beat up by Bowser. Luigi got kidnapped. Toad got almost strangled by Magic. The only person who didn't get touched was Princess Peach, and it becomes pretty goddamn obvious why that's the case. You know, um, she surrenders before she even loses the fight. She surrenders in order to save Toad. And when it comes to fights, she doesn't get hit or anything. So she's completely untouched. And in any situation, she manages to outthink the guys around her. So we're in a woman's world now. But Mario was the hero at the end of the day. He had to share the stage with Luigi, but they set that earlier because they wanted Mario and Luigi to both be the heroes of the story. Donkey Kong was one of the heroes of the story, but he had no real input into the final battle. So it was fine. It was a good children's movie. I suggest if you like kids and you don't mind some of the things that I've said, then it's fine. It's nothing in it that's going to super offend you. There is no hitting messaging in there outside of girls can save themselves. There's no other subliminal messaging in it. So it was fun for what it was. So before we go into the David Mamet question and some of the more breakdown of the movie, let's talk a little bit about what you guys thought of it. Let's see. It says Light says Bowser is the best character. I don't know. I don't know if Bowser was the best character. He was entertaining, but I don't know if I liked the comedic way that they went about it. WG Phil says, I like how they world build, similar to Sonic, real world people in a strange world. Yeah, I mean, the Sonic story was an Isekai as well. Sonic comes from a different universe, gets brought into our real world, where he is so much different than everybody else. This was in one in the reverse, where Mario comes from our real world to the Mushroom Kingdom. And you know what? I think I may have enjoyed Sonic a little bit more, but I think this one was definitely one I will watch more often because I definitely enjoyed. I just didn't like the characterizations of Mario. I wasn't a big fan of the characterization of Mario or Bowser, if we're just being honest. But for the animation and everything, it was absolutely beautiful. AJ3, only difference is the voice. The voice of Mario, again, would have been fine if they had not decided to poke people with the move, with the voice, saying that, what is that stupid voice you guys put on? It's like that's how the character talks, like that's really how the character speaks in the video games. Like I know, what did it say about her dad in the instruction manual? I don't know. Ross says it's one of the few movies with no wokeness. Well, the answer is not no wokeness. It's minimal wokeness. It's absolutely woke that Princess Toadstool manages to save herself at every turn and doesn't get beat up or captured or anything, unlike all the other characters in the movie. Every character in the movie got either captured or beat up or nearly killed, except Princess Toadstool. She was the only one who didn't. Even when she was forced to get married, she didn't even get forced to get married. She countered it almost immediately and then defeated Bowser. So I was like, wow, okay, it is what it is. Bowser being a comedic villain makes sense for his character. I don't see why. How does it? He's a giant turtle dragon. How does that bring up? He should be playing the piano and singing. I don't know. Like him being obsessed with her is fine, but I would have liked for a harder edged Bowser. But then again, it's also a children's movie. It's a PG movie. Did you see the original Popeye movie with Robin Williams? I did. I was a big fan of Popeye as a kid. Not a super fan, but I watched the cartoons. I watched the Robin Williams movie. I thought it was good. I'm surprised they didn't try to remake Popeye. They probably would try to remake it today, but it'd probably be olive oil, eating the spinach, and knocking Bluto and Popeye around. That's just kind of how this thing goes. Chris Pratt was perfect as Mario. Well, only if you don't care about his voice. Only if you don't care about his voice. Bowser was great as a villain, and Jack Black made it work. I think Jack Black, he wanted to be he likes to sing. He sings in pretty. He's like Will Ferrell, where everything he's in, he's singing. You know, like Will Ferrell has a hilarious singing voice, so he sings in pretty much everything, and it's comedic. So Jack Black, you know, he figured out he was a rock star in like what 2000 with Tenacious D. He just started singing in all of his movies too. Um, what video game would you pick for a movie? My thing is Resident Evil is an easy movie. You know, why they haven't done it right yet, I don't know. It's just all you gotta do is follow the game. It's a city full of zombies because of a virus spread by Umbrella Corporation. You know, you're trapped in a mansion or a hospital or something like that, and there's zombies outside, and there's strange people inside. You know, sometimes there's monsters like a licker or infected dog or something like that. Um, but Resident Evil should have been top of the list. I don't know how many of you guys are old enough to have played Dino Crisis, which is basically Resident Evil but dinosaurs. That game was fucking cool too. Chrono Trigger would probably make a good movie. Final Fantasy VII will probably make a good movie. I don't know about the hairstyles though, but as just a story, yeah, you can make a Final Fantasy VII action movie. That should be fun. But people will want the pointy hairstyles and all that kind of stuff, and that's the bad thing about Japan is they have such unique hairstyles that if you don't do the hairstyles exactly, people are going to be like, "Oh, you're not following the source material." It's like, man, in real life, nobody has pointy fucking hair like this, you know. But it is what it is. I'm trying to think of some more games. Shinobi is another one. I think I probably would make a cool game. I mean, a cool movie. Ninja Gaiden should probably make a cool. Tenchu. Hitman. Hitman has had, I think, 2 movies. The Timothy Oliphant movie was okay. I wouldn't say it was terrible. It was okay. The Agent 47 Super Soldier movie, I was like, I don't know about that one. The music was the best part. The music was very good in this movie, for sure. They did a good job of having it feel like he was in the game, like he was watching the game. You know, that's kind of how it felt a little bit. You know, so it was great. Detective Pikachu, Super Mario, and the Sonic the Hedgehog. I never saw Detective Pikachu because it didn't look like a Pokemon. It looked like something they were doing with the Pokemon franchise, and I wasn't interested in that. So I didn't really pay attention to it. But Sonic was solid, and Super Mario was good. But Detective Pikachu, I don't know. Should I actually watch that? It seems like I might not need to watch it. Now we need to make Zelda to make a Super Smash Brothers. They'll botch the fuck out of Zelda. I mean, come on. Zelda as a story is all about, Link is the hero of time. He's the, you know, but Zelda should have been like a movie a long time ago, you know? Just imagine this little dwarf, the little dwarf kid. But that's also which direction do you go in? Do you go with adult Link or do you go with child Link? You know, if you go with kid Link, it could be cute and it could be fun. If you go with adult Link, it's going to be like depressing or something. But I think Zelda has a lot of Christian themes that they took out of the games, and they have sort of never put them back. You know, I mean, you even have a Trinity in the damn universe. But I would love like a wide span Zelda, series where like just regular Zelda, then maybe Majora's Mask, then Ocarina of Time, and then you could do a Super Smash Brothers movie. But Link is just such a I really be personally hurt if they tried Zelda and failed. I would be personally destroyed because I love that franchise. And Zelda makes me want to go back and play video games. There's very few universes and franchises that make me wish I still play video games. Zelda is the one where I'm kind of like, man, when I started missing like uh, the the cell shaded Zelda games, and I never played them, I was feeling hurt. Like when I got that Nintendo 64, man, all I wanted to do was play Majora's Mask. And play Ocarina of Time. And those games were so much fucking fun. I would spend hours just riding a horse around the area. It was just incredible. I would feel so hurt if they made Zelda, which is probably one of my, if not the best video game franchise ever, and then they dunked it underwater because the hero is male. That would suck. I think Metroid would probably work in today's reality because Samus is female, so they would actually probably do it right, because Samus is female. What else? What other video games? I think they could probably. Let's just stay away from fighting games. Fighting games don't typically have a good storyline, so they should stay away from fighting games. But I named a couple already. Maybe you can't do Double Dragon because once again, saving girlfriends or saving damsels in distress. You can't really do that because they don't allow that kind of shit either. I don't know, man. Maybe y'all got some ideas I don't have. Okay. So Princess Toadstool's father was just a gag. Okay. Does it make sense because I have defeated him in the dumbest of ways? Gennady Tartakovsky's Popeye movie was scrapped in the mid 2000s. I love Gennady Tartakovsky. I love Primal, and I talk all the time on this channel about Samurai Jack. But I really wonder if he would have gotten Popeye, if he would have got Popeye right. I think he probably would have because he's a guy who loves characters and he loves heroes, and it feels to me like he probably would have nailed Popeye if he'd got a chance. Darren Miles agrees with me that they should just do a Resident Evil movie right. Like, all you gotta do is follow the story, man. The story is not that difficult. Like they try to do too much with it. It's like, no, there's a bunch of people trapped in a city full of zombies. It's essentially Resident Evil, except people are locked. You can even do people who are locked in different places. Like Leon is locked in a mansion while I think her name was Claire is locked in a hospital. And they're trying to find each other. The brother and sister, they're on different sides of the city, and they're wondering if they're still alive. And then maybe they go on the radio or something, and Leon finds out that his sister is still alive, and they're like, I'll meet you at such and such and such on such and such and such and such. And they try to work their way to each other. That would be an easier way to tell this story. I was one of the few people who didn't. When it comes to stupid action movies, the Resident Evil franchise works. Like I just want to watch something stupid, I'll watch the Resident Evil franchise. But I don't watch it because they're good Resident Evil movies. They're not. Alice as a character does not exist in that universe. So, at least not since I played it. I played Resident Evil 4, and that was the last one I played. I forgot. Devil May Cry would also be a great movie. I think Devil May Cry could really rule as a movie. Why they haven't tried to make Devil May Cry a movie yet, I don't know. But it seems to me like Capcom is not comfortable with Devil May Cry as they made it, which is why they keep changing shit. Why they want to do DMC and all that other stuff. It seems like they're just not okay with the universe as they set it up, and it seems to me to be kind of dumb. It's like we should be happy with what we made here. The issue with that is that Seth Rogen and Jack Black, because they don't want to be the character, they want the character to be them. That is a good point, and that's a really good point. And I think that's actually what happened, and why I didn't enjoy Bowser as much. Because it's not just that I heard Jack Black; it's that I also started to see Jack Black a little bit. So maybe that's the good point, and maybe that's what I subconsciously had that going on. Is I was like not just like hear that some bitch, but I'm starting to hear him too. I mean, starting to see him, and I was like, I don't know, man. Saints Row could be a movie, and Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem could have been a movie 15 years ago. They'll never do it right today. Duke Nukem is too misogynistic, quote unquote, and all that kind of stuff. It'll never work. And plus, if you look at Duke Nukem, it's so 90s. It's so 90s with that 80s vibe. It's like a big dude with guns and a buzz cut, you know, fighting aliens and shit. It would be great, because it's a very simple premise. The problem is the more simplistic the premise, the more Hollywood feel like they need to fiddle fuck with it. And they'll definitely fiddle fuck the hell out of Duke Nukem. It'll never work. Metal Gear Solid could be good too. Yes, Metal Gear could be great. Metal Gear as a franchise is almost like a riff on nuclear war. So it's very political. And I can see it getting down to that road where, there's a bunch of terrorists with super weapons called Metal Gears and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I can see that working, It'd be right up people's alley too, but the problem is I think maybe Kurt Russell playing Snake in the early 2000s, late 90s would have been great. Back when I used to play video games. Oh, tremendous. It made me want to break out my PlayStation, my Xbox 360. I wonder if it works. I doubt it, though. I should go get a Nintendo 64. Just buy that. The Way of the Samurai. I don't remember that game. Dead or Alive. That's a fighting game. I would stay away from fighting. Max Payne was an interesting movie that they made too out of a video game. Considering that franchise was kind of a flash in the pan, I was surprised they made a movie out of it. The Yakuza game could be a good movie. I never played it, so I don't know. If they made Zelda Link, would be gay for sure. Oh yeah, it had to be some. I think that they would make Link a child so that him and Zelda can never really be together. That would be their way of getting around the whole he gets the girl thing. Is Link will have to be like the cute little hero that she kisses on the forehead and thank you for a good job, little man. And he just it's like that sucks, but it is what it is at that point. Watch them make Tom Holland Link. Or worse, it'd be some other weirdo kid. Oh my god. I think Tom Holland might be a little old to be Link though. They'd probably go with Kid Link. Popeye is going to be in the public domain in 6 years. I'm surprised he's not in the public domain right now. Bayonetta would be a good movie. I always wanted to play Bayonetta. I never got around to it, so I don't know that much about the game. I know they made a movie for Blood Rain, which was a sort of half vampire. They made like a sci-fi movie for it. I kind of liked the series. It kind of just faded to black. It's one of those early 2000s video game franchises that hit really hard and then vanished almost immediately, like Drakengard. Like Drakengard hit hard and then vanished. Like I remember running out there to get the Drakengard games. I got the first two, I think, and then it vanished. I never heard anybody playing Drakengard ever again. It was the same thing with with what's the name? I forgot already. Doom. Yeah, they tried Doom. It didn't work. I think if they tried Doom for real, it probably would work. But the Doom movie that they made was awful. It was an awful fucking movie. That's what drew me out of Deadpool. It's not Deadpool. It's Deadpool trying to be Ryan Reynolds. I'm not going to say it's not Deadpool because Ryan Reynolds got a certain element of Deadpool. The sense of humor, the talkative nature of the character. I think he got close, and maybe it's a situation where it's a perfect marriage where he is very Deadpool-like in reality, and him and the character overlapped a lot. It wasn't as blatant as Jack Black and Bowser. Like, that's too much like Jack Black is pulling Bowser in his direction. But this seems like a perfect mesh of Bowser, of Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds kind of overlapping, where you couldn't tell where one ended and one began and the other began. And he was so good at it that other people just saw him as the end. But I can see how it could be annoying because Ryan Reynolds plays the same character in every movie. He was the same character in Green Lantern, and it sucked because that's not who Hal Jordan is. but he was able to nail Deadpool because that is what Deadpool. All right, since I'm caught up on the comments, let's do the Mamet question. Okay, so David Mamet, the writer, he has these 4 questions that I always look at when I'm writing a story and when I'm evaluating a story. These are very basic. Question one is, what does your hero want? What is your hero's desire? 2, what stands in their way? What is the obstacles? 3, what happens if they don't get it? What are the outcomes if the hero fails? And 4, why now? It's a time-based question. Why is the story happening right now? A lot of stories trip over that why now part. There's some really good movies out there that when they get to the why now, it's stupid. You have to wait for like a comet to go by at a certain time in a movie, or we're waiting for, a special twilight solar eclipse or some shit. And it's like, oh my God. Anything that you have to sit around and wait for the sun to do something is a big thumbs down when it comes to a movie for me. I don't know why I went on that tangent. I just did. I just wanted to give people an idea, because there was a vampire movie that had James Woods in it, and it really just kind of threw me for a loop because they were waiting for like a solar eclipse or some shit, and I was like, what the fuck? You slowed the movie down for a solar eclipse. Avatar, they do that too with you have to wait for what was that? Sosin's comet. That's when I was like, oh God, we have to wait for this comet. You got to wait for some that the characters are not in control of to actually happen before we can finish the story. Anyway, question 1, what does your hero want? Well, there's more than one hero in this movie. There's 3. There's multiple. So the top 3 heroes are Mario, Princess Peach, and Donkey Kong. So Mario wants to save his brother. Once he's separated from Luigi, that's his goal, is to save his brother. Not necessarily to get the girl, but to save his brother. Princess Peach wants to protect the Mushroom Kingdom. Okay, it's pretty good. Donkey Kong wants to prove himself to his father. And if you was to flip this and say, what does your villain want? Because sometimes the story is driven by what your villain wants. Bowser wants to marry Princess Peach. He doesn't just want to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom. He wants to marry Princess Peach. All right, so the second is, what are the obstacles that are in their way? Now, I typically go a little bit deeper with this one because usually it is more than just one thing. It's kind of boring to just say Bowser and the Koopa Kingdom. Clearly, Mario wants to save his brother who has been kidnapped by Bowser. Mario wants to kidnap his brother who's been kidnapped by Bowser. All right, that's boring. Peach wants to protect the Mushroom Kingdom from Bowser. That's boring. Donkey Kong wants to prove himself to his father by getting into fights with Bowser and being a hero. Okay, that's actually interesting, but it's never really a stated goal of Donkey Kong in the movie. When it comes to Bowser, he wants to marry the princess, but his evil nature is in its way. Him being evil and a giant turtle dragon is is definitely in the way of him marrying the princess. Mario also has to overcome his self-doubt. He has to overcome his internal struggles. Good heroes almost always have internal struggles, not just between doing the right thing, but how does the right thing need to be done. Mario has been beat down verbally throughout the entire movie about whether he's any good at something, and his father doesn't think so, and everybody's making fun of him. And then he goes to the Mushroom Kingdom, and he can't finish the obstacle course. He gets beat up in front of everybody in the Jungle Kingdom. He almost got eaten and almost, died. Donkey Kong had to help him save his own life. And he has to overcome that incompetence, and he has to regain his confidence each time. So that's something that he has to get over. And Princess Peach is part of it also is she needs to find allies. She realizes that the Toads as heroes are not adequate. They're too small, they're too weak. She has to build allegiances. So part of what stands in the way of her protecting the Mushroom Kingdom is she has to figure out how to build allegiances with the other kingdoms. But they do so very quickly. She goes to to the Kongs, asks them for the army. They say no. Then Mario steps up and is like, we're not leaving without your army. And they're like, okay, well, you defeat Donkey Kong, we'll give it to you. And it's like, wow, that was quick, But I'm pretty sure this movie was very expensive to make, and it's an animated movie, so I know it's expensive to make. And so there was no time to build the tension and drag it out. They just jumped right into it. So okay. And Donkey Kong, well, like I said before, it wasn't a stated goal. So 3, you have what happens if they don't get it? What happens if Mario doesn't save Luigi? Well, he's going to be depressed. His father was right. He said, you're dragging your brother down with you, which is harsh as hell to say. And if Mario can't save Luigi, then his father is right. He is, a failure, and he did drag Luigi down with him. Princess Peach, if she doesn't save the Mushroom Kingdom, it's going to be destroyed. If she doesn't find a way to convince the Kongs to join the fight, then the Mushroom Kingdom will be destroyed. And if Donkey Kong doesn't actually prove himself to his father, he's going to forever be seen as sort of a clown around there. And while he may be well liked by everybody else, he'll never actually have the love and respect of the one person he wants the love and respect of, which is being his father. And why now? Why now? Why is the story happening now? Well, it's pretty clear because they tell you at the very beginning, because Bowser has finally found the invincible star, which he took from the Penguin Kingdom. So now because of Bowser taking the star from the Penguins, he can now make a move on the Mushroom Kingdom. And he has something to present to Princess Toadstool as a token of his love and appreciation. Now, that's why he is invading the Mushroom Kingdom. That's not exactly why the story is starting. The story starts because Mario and Luigi are failures as plumbers and decide to jump inside of a whirlpool in order to try to help Brooklyn and end up lost in another world. So that's why the story starts at this point. It just so happens that Mario's desire to try to save Brooklyn and to jump into the tunnel coincides with Bowser finally finding the star and wanting to invade the Mushroom Kingdom. So as a movie, it's very, very solid. If you're a fan of the franchise, you will like it. It's a children's movie, so if you're a straight up adult like me, you may find it, a little wishy-washy. It's not a traditional Mario, not his traditional voice. They do mock you a little bit in the movie. If you're interested in a traditional hero, Mario is not that, because he is this sort of new age male who is run down by his dad and kicked around by everybody and disrespected, and yet never gives up, keeps coming forward, and has to overcome. So it's good from that regard. And I think that's a solid enough movie that everybody should enjoy it. All right. So that is my total review of Super Mario, the movie. And if there's anything else, I will let you guys get back to your Easter. Is there anything else you guys would like to discuss? And I'll give you guys a couple of seconds. There was, while you guys do that, there was a Japanese author who talked about Isekai, basically second world fiction, where a hero goes from one world to the other, and saying that has become sort of unoriginal. I had an article all queued up in order to do it. I chose not to read it because I figured this was going to be short and I didn't want to take up too much time going through it. But basically, it's an attack on the Isekai genre. And it comes from the fact that there's a lot of Japanese Isekai now where it is reincarnated in another world with 10,000 gold. I'm the boss in the second world or some shit like that. It's just a ton of that stuff. And I noticed it before this author said anything, but I don't necessarily think that the genre itself is a problem. Mario is an Isekai. Mario is a plumber who finds himself into the Mushroom Kingdom. John Carter of Mars, is an Isekai. It's just Isekai is what the Japanese call it. It was really just called second world fiction or something like that, or portal fiction or something, where a guy goes through a portal or a gate or something like that and comes out on the other end with some kind of super ability or some kind of affliction, maybe that that pushes the story forward. These sort of some of my favorite stuff now is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Batman comics, where they're essentially isekais. And in volume one, the turtles find themselves in Gotham, and in the second book, Bane finds himself in the turtles world. So it's an isekai in both ways, and I'm very interested in finishing the second book so I can talk about it a little bit more. Leeds LG says, this is a non-sequitur, but what do you think about BRICS' new proposed currency? How do you feel living in a post-American dominant world? Well, I think that you're looking at something that's probably going to start a war. I think you're probably going to start a war. And it's very unfortunate, but trying to move away from the dollar is probably going to cause Americans to feel very uncomfortable, because a lot of these countries are not going to be independent. They're not going to be, want to do business. They're still going to want to do business with the United States because we're the number one, when it comes to business. But it just shows how far we've fallen, that these countries rather, even feel comfortable doing this or even proposing it. Will it actually get done? I don't know. But we're in no position. Like, our economy is falling apart. Like, we're probably about to have another round of inflation because of the time that, I think just a couple of days, California's their ports were closed. Like, they had a union strike or something like that, and that's going to cause more inflation, and our economy is just going to get wrecked. So the crime is going to be out of control. We're probably going to have China coming in, buying up more farmland and property in the United States, and it's going to be an issue, but we'll see. Have you ever read any Usagi Yojimbo comics? Yes, absolutely. I love Usagi Yojimbo. I was looking at the gigantic omnibus of Usagi Yojimbo that I have not gotten to yet, because I still have a backlog of stuff from Christmas that I haven't read. So I still have tons of stuff, because I add stuff every week. I add like multiple books every week. So there's still plenty of things from Christmas that I haven't read, and I'm still buying books, and I still have to plug holes like in Hell's Paradise or No Guns Life that I don't have. So I'm still behind, but yeah, I have a gigantic omnibus of Usagi Yojimbo comics. I love the black and white things. I know they started to put them out in color. I don't necessarily need the color version, so I like the black and white Usagi Yojimbo comics. And Takai actually is about to start a new series with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's actually going to start this week, I believe. They're going to do a Turtles Yojimbo. They do these occasionally, these crossovers. And sometimes they're isekais too, where Yojimbo will end up in their world or they will end up in his world. And when I was a kid, I used to think he was a character in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It took me forever to realize he was his own property, owned by his own guy. I love Usagi Yojimbo, and I think a lot of people do, which is why it's been going on for so long. And the problem is that it just flies under the radar. It's one of those things that if you're really into comics, you'll love Usagi Yojimbo. It's very simple. It's a wandering rabbit samurai. All of the characters are pretty fun and funny characters. The blind pig, Zanoichi. It's fun. I didn't like the Netflix series though, because they didn't go with Usagi, or Usagi as the main character. They went with a different main character. So I kind of lost interest in it pretty quickly. But a Usagi Yojimbo cartoon could be fun. It would be fun as hell. Telling the story of how he lost his master and how he travels from town to town and deals with these kunoichi and all these other bizarre characters that populate his universe. And I love just George Takai as a guy who is just perfectly happy doing Usagi Yojimbo comics. I don't think he really does too much anything else. He may do covers here and there, but he's not a guy who is looking to to be, Todd McFarlane or anything like that. Like he's got this really great property. He doesn't want to be Neil Gaiman. His stories are very simple. The characters are very simple. Everything about it is simple, safe. I love it. Have I ever read any Savage Dragon? I haven't either. I never read it. I'm not interested in Savage Dragon, and I think that the fact that it took a weird sexual turn probably makes it even worse for me. Like, look, I'm not a prude, but I think some things are just too vulgar. And to me, I've heard of like Savage Dragon comics that have become basically just porn, and I'm like, I'm not interested in that. Sorry. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever even seen one on the shelves. And I go to like these comic book shops that are like real comic book shops that have like Lady Death on the shelves. And I still very rarely see Savage Dragon. If I do, it's probably the early days of Savage Dragon before it took that weird porn turn. Um, Cerberus is usually one of those things you see a lot in those little corner comic shops too. You don't really see it in like the big glossy joints where they sell manga and shit because the guy from who made Cerberus got canceled. So you don't really see that a lot often, but you see him in like the little seedy comic book shops you see there. But I like Usagi Yojimbo. I wish I could talk about it more. But George Shikai, he made a grip off that thing though. Just regular blue collar guy who writes his comics and prints them out and people buy them. People buy the gigantic omnibuy. The crazy thing is when I was buying weekly floppies, because I don't really buy floppies anymore. I get Spawn floppies and I get maybe I think maybe a couple or other series in floppy form. Otherwise, I don't really buy floppies. I was buying Usagi Yojimbo, and I never put it on my pull list, so I could never can find it. Like you would go into a comic book shop, like I know Usagi Yojimbo came out this week and it'd be gone, and they bought more than three, and it was probably like 5 or 6, and they're all gone. So I have to go to a different comic book shop to find it. My friend loves Cerberus, but I can never find any physical copies. Now I know why. Yeah, he wrote the guy who created Cerberus got canceled for he wrote like some kind of anti-feminist screed or some kind of they said he was a misogynist or something like that, and that was it for him. Now people used to love Cerberus too, and then he got canceled, and that was kind of it. Grendel is another really good series for people who the Hunter Rose Grendel. Let's put it like that. Let's stop right there because every Grendel after Hunter Rose is not that interesting to me. But I love the Hunter Rose Grendel. I thought it was tremendous. Matt Wagner, really good stuff. So get like if you're trying to get into Grendel, because I know they tried to make a Netflix movie or something like that, or the Netflix TV shows, one or the other. If they ever try to do it, they put out these Grendel omnibus, the omnibuy. Get the first book because those are Hunter Rose. I have the floppies of the Hunter Rose series. I have what the fuck is it called? The first book. Let me see if I can find out because it's right here. The very first one is in black and white. It's from Calico. It is called. It's not Devil's Legacy because Devil's Legacy is the second one. The first one is I forget what it's called, but it's got the Hunter Rose as the main character. It's really good. I might have it in there with the rest of my floppies. I might have it in my flopping section. Let me take a quick look. So, yeah. Let's see. The black, white, and red Randall is really good. Devil by the Deep. That's what it's called. It's a floppy. It's kind of like a graphic novel. If you read it, you get Hunter Rose and kind of a life story in this story. And then the rest of the Hunter Rose story goes through the red, white, and black, black, white, and red. series. I just love these wonderful, and I'm gonna get the omnibus eventually. I don't have black, white, and red, or the red, white, and black. I'm gonna have all of it, but I have enough of it that I can not buy that stuff right now. Will you ever read One Piece? I don't see I don't see myself getting into it, considering it's so long. Um, I just don't feel like I should have to chase that down. Like One Piece is one of those things where I'll be buying it for the next 15 fucking years. Like, let me tell you, I started reading Hell's Paradise, and I'm up to book 4, and I feel like I'm so far behind. But the series is over, right? It was only 13 volumes. I'm on volume 4, so I'm a quarter of the way through. No Guns Life, same thing. It's 13 volumes. I'm on volume 4. I feel like I'm so far behind. It looks like I got so much more to go. Because when it comes to Hell's Paradise, I don't even have those books. When it comes to No Guns Life, I have the books. At the very least, I'm looking at them right now. Like they're sitting there waiting for me to read them. But when it comes to Hell's Paradise, I got to order them from Amazon and wait for them to get delivered. And then usually when that happens, I can read something else and catch up. But I'm reading. I got so much stuff. I have no time for One Piece. I haven't even read the Dragon Ball man. Like that's crazy. You know, like people. Like I'm a super fan of Dragon Ball. I've never read the Dragon Ball manga. You know, I will eventually, but I've never read the Dragon Ball manga. I'm gonna get around to it. How is Eric July's independent comic series going? I haven't heard too much about it recently. I think he's still working on the second book, as far as I know. It will be coming out. I will probably order it just to finish the series because it seemed like this will actually finish the first storyline that he put together. It was a nice little trick. I thought it was going to be one contained story, but it ended up being at least a two-part story. Your boy Zach did the same thing with Jawbreakers. I didn't mind it. I don't mind it. It's a typical comic book format. You pay a little extra on it, but ultimately, it's going to the pockets of somebody who actually cares about the medium and somebody who's actually not going to shit on you. So that it works out. Speaking of which, I just got the third volume of Common America by Timothy Lim and Mark Pellegrini. I have volume 1. I could not find volume 2 anywhere. I might have to order volume 2 off of Amazon or something like that. But I got volume 1 and I got volume 3. I know there's like 7 volumes though, so I'm way behind. But these are the volumes that they give to comic book shops. That's it. Lisa Elsie says, last week I went on a college tour of Northwestern Michigan College. I think I'll be going there for their Maritime Academy. Have you ever been to Traverse City, Michigan? No, I know some people who've been to Traverse City, but I've never been. I've never been to that college either. I'm not sure. Maybe I have. Back in my fraternity days, I used to hop from school to school. So occasionally we would go to different schools, and we used to go to schools that was out in the boonies, and it's hard for me to remember what so many of them we were to be going to. But I think Northwestern was one of them. So maybe I had been to Traverse City and I just don't remember it. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to watch The Pope's Exorcist or something tonight, or I may find something else to watch. But everybody get back to your Easter. Thank you for your time. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.